Greetings, welcome again, guys. This video. I want to talk about individuals discovering or pointing out certain traits, characteristics in narcissists that um, can go unnoticed, at least, especially uh, initial contact, like having dialogues or whatnot with them. One of the things that we overlook quite frequently is um, how the exchange of words and stuff may come across, be it in a discussion, conversation, so forth, and something that they want to hold a position on. For example, if you are talking to this to a particular individual, and you're having a dialogue with them, and um, you are bringing pretty substantiating points to, validate your position on something. The biggest thing that narcissists will use if they do not know what they're talking about and only trying to hold a position of being right, you'll find this quite common, is that the individual will begin to deflect and project and trying to overtalk you, trying to drown you out when you are bringing, um, basically, when you're really hitting on all cylinders, bringing a lot of information to them, and you're countering effectively with logic and reasoning. The narcissist does not like that, okay? In many cases, they will begin to try to overtalk you, or they will, they'll be aware of anyone saying that you're talking too loud or anything like that. This is all deflection, guys. This is deflection. This is so that they can get you to get off focusing off of them not completing the question, not effectively presenting themselves to where they're making any sense, right? Because they're not making sense. And usually when a person starts doing that, it's because um, they don't have any position to stand on to support what they're talking about, right? It's a clear indicator, okay? And so they will begin to, um, try to shift and use word salad to throw you off from your position of really, showing them up and making them look incompetent, basically. That's a primary tactic that you'll find, which you should not overlook. If you see that in any way, um, I would say you're um, I would go as far as to say 90%, uh, you know, probably 90% of the time you're going to be dealing with someone who is like that, or they may not know what they're talking about. But nonetheless, it's not the sign of a mature adult conversation dealing with someone who does have a particular understanding and the discipline to conduct themselves in a mature and adult fashion. Again, guys, in most cases is with narcissists, you're dealing with immaturity, okay? And don't let this slide off like it's something minute, that, oh, it's not a big deal. It's a very big deal, because someone who is intelligible in a normal, reasonable mind state, uh, they don't they don't carry on like that in a dialogue. They don't have to do that, especially if you have a question to be asked more specifically. Um, the individual would respond intelligibly. Okay, if the individual starts to deflect, especially if it's uh, so if you basically counter it to the point where it's gonna show them up and they don't really know what they're talking about, you will bring the narcissistic trait out of this individual. If you're dealing with a narcissist, you will see that. You will see the over talking, them not allowing you to get a word in, just talking and talking and talking. or they'll try to escape, avoid the conversation, say what they have to say, but they don't want to continue to let you, drive your point home because it's going to show them up, and they don't know what they're talking about anyway. So of course they don't want to continue on with the conversation. They want to end it as quick as possible so that they can save face. These are tactics that they use, guys, and you know there's many different ones, but this is a very common one, and one again you should not overlook. All right, it's not to say that everyone's a narcissist, but I can guarantee you it is a definite sign that you're dealing with someone who may be immature. As a matter of fact, that's just not the way people conduct themselves, especially if you hear someone trying to overtalk you, right? When you're trying to make a point, or when you do ask a question, they're avoiding it or they're deflecting. Those are very rude characteristics and trait to come off with anyway when you're holding an adult type situation or conversation, at least. So, um, wanted to put that out there because in a lot of instances, um, people will then say, okay, squash it, and then go on. And we hear the thing so often about agree to disagree. Yeah, that's fine. Everyone has entitled to their own opinion, respectively, though. Um, and that's just one of the things that, you can respectively disagree with someone. I mean, that's natural, that's human nature. But when you do catch someone in a position where they don't know what they're talking about, but they're trying to drive home points and force their opinion upon you, and there's nothing, to support that, that's where the problem comes in. You know, um, again, as you know, in most cases, narcissists do not like people who are considered experts, do not like things that show facts or consistency to facts that goes against their belief themselves. They can't accept that because their beliefs are more superior than facts, right? So when you deal with a person with that type of mindset, of course, you're not going to get anywhere because they're going to push the issue of their mindset being more above, facts, science, anything that can be 100% proven. They'll try to go to the other side to bring up things that cannot be proven, cannot be put into concrete evidence, and try to lure you into that realm because it's you know it's not fixed. It's interchangeable at that point, and then they can manipulate the information accordingly from that position a lot easier versus from a factual standpoint where there's data or there's a certain amount of consistency that goes along with it. So this is where the narcissist likes to basically have you play in that area of where there's nothing to prove or to validate through facts and consistency. Again, guys, I always say that one of the major key components to um, making an educated guess that is going to be more than likely right and accurate is consistency. This is part of what the scientific method is based off. You have to have a certain level of consistency, right? Um, to be able to even start to consider something factual. There's some people who believe that narcissists can change. Even given all of the data and stuff that's out there, they feel that these individuals can have a miraculous turnaround. Um, you can say maybe, but according to the data, according to the consistency of what's been out there, of what has happened, of what has been studied for years, by some of the greatest minds out there in science, um, who have brought this to the forefront and put it out there for the people to educate themselves on. This has been proven to be consistent in nature, that no, they do not change. And when you have people who try to go against factual data, um, you have to question that. You have to question that person's state of mind. Again, science isn't an absolute. We know this. But there's things that would allow you to lean more to believing in the scientific method of something and going that route than going along with something that doesn't have enough backing or supporting evidence to basically support that position or opinion on something. Me personally, I'm gonna go with the supporting evidence that has been consistent. It's a safer shot that way. I would be more consistent in being right than wrong if I went along with the supporting data that stated that. Can they be some changes or something that may some breakthroughs? Quite possibly, but the data doesn't support that. I'm a big believer in numbers don't lie. Statistics, if they're done right, of course you can't get everyone, but if we're being, again, the key word, consistent, we're looking for consistency here. If the information is consistent, or the traits or behaviors or the results or whatever, the events, the sum of it or the equation of it comes out to be consistent with the same answer or the same effects, more than likely that is what it's going to produce more often than not. It's safe to say that you can go along with the data that is presented based on the statistics, which deals with numbers. Numbers don't lie. So if that's the case, yeah, I'd rather lean towards the data that shows the consistency than the other thing that says, well, there's possibilities here, possibilities there. Okay, that's fine, but give me the data that shows the consistency. That way, if I'm gonna take a guess, or if I'm gonna take a place a bet, or if I'm gonna take a chance, I'd rather do it with information that is that leads to being more accurate than something that's just thrown out there. So just something to throw out there, guys, something to think about, something to put into your minds. And I think it's important to understand that, when you're dealing with situations and you see these certain signs, be mindful that there's a reason why this is going on. And if you see these things that develop based on information and data, there's a good chance that if you're seeing it, it's going to lead to A, B, C, and so forth down the line. So my point is, why even put yourself in position to go in that direction with the information or with data that shows, hey, more than likely, if you take that route, you're going to end up experiencing this. If you have, part of educating yourself is knowing, giving yourself the best opportunity to make the best choices in life. And that's why we get information, and we try to get information that is most accurate as possible, or that most resonates with your own experience, to show, yes, this is true. And yes, there is some consistency to that being true, because yes, I did see it go like this, from this point, that point, and so forth. So that's all I have to say for this video, guys. Just something to think about. Something to think about when you can encounter certain situations, certain things, certain instances that you may find yourself in. Just be mindful that I would rather stick on the side where the numbers are showing, and they're not always correct, but there's certain things, that's going to show on a consistent basis. Remember that word. Consistency is what we're looking for. If you're consistently seeing it, you want to go on the side of what is consistent. That's going to give you the best accuracy, the best judgment standpoint that you can base your decision upon. Anyway, guys, that's all I have to say for this video. Hit the thumbs button, thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Till next time, have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Bye now.